there's a few things that have been consistently mentioned throughout my life, and I'm assuming that they've been mentioned since this country has been a country, and that issue is the treatment of African Americans or black people in America. And this is what I think more people should talk about, as long as you have um, understanding about um, the issue and the um, and as long as it's constructive. And it's one of the only things that we can do and talk about, or is talk about these issues, because they are such spread throughout all of our communities and all of the country. But talking about it is one of the most important things that we can do. And the I've been wanting to make a video that addresses some of these concerns, addresses the the idea of racial problems, the ideas of um, you know equality, of fairness, treatment, what people are actually thinking versus what they should be thinking. And I think that the world and people's employment or whatnot, the competition of the world blinds people to believing lies, believing things that are not true about other people. Whereas we live in a complex society that is very easy to deceive in these fundamental ways where, you know, most important thing about humans is not their ability to, do certain tasks that you might think. But those things are important, they're valuable, but only with a larger understanding of who you are, who everyone is to God, and how everyone's important to God. And then you can start to understand your own importance to God and your own talents and how valuable they are. Um, but I just want to say that there's been many instances where I've seen black people that they've had a positive influence on my life. Um, I've had all sorts of influences. I don't want to talk about all the things that have ever happened to me, but I've had many different encounters with different people. But um, it's not about my life that I want to talk about today. It's about um, what is what is happening, what has happened, and what maybe can be done about what is wrong and should be done. And just bring awareness to this issue. This it's not a it is a problem because um it's it's not being handled, it's not being addressed, it's not being taken seriously in the way that you would think. I do think it's a unique issue, and I don't know exactly, anyone knows how to exactly diagnose it, but it's a problem in the sense that it's it's almost, people feel like they can't do anything about it, and but um people want to treat other people fairly, but if you really would test them, would they? Would they really treat them fairly if you really tested them? Or is that just something that they tell themselves? So there's um, a lot going on in our world, and I just want to talk a little bit about some of it. Um, I want to start off by saying that I have love for the African American community. I have love for black people, and I have always had love for black people. And there has been many different things that I have noticed within the communities of people of color, of black communities, that distinguishes them apart from other communities in a unique way. Not to say that other communities are not important, or not they don't have their own um, aspect that is unique and special and um, gifted and things like that. I'm just saying that for for this time here, I'm mentioning that I have noticed this um, draw of draw into the communities of color, of the African American communities, where two different things, multiple things, um, but one of the things is that you I have noticed that when I speak or encounter people I've never met before, it seems as if I am being I have a close relationship with them, or it's almost like I have um, I feel like as if I'm being a part of their family almost, or I'm. It might be that they're building me up, and that's kind of what I see as a consistent pattern um, through many of the different encounters. And being built up is something that um, you don't really recognize it in the moment, but if you look back at it, you really recognize it. if you there's um there's been other instances where I've just noticed that they um they I have noticed this. There's a And I don't want to get into individual characteristics about any single person and then generalizing that, because that might not be fair either. But I think that it's quite fair to say that there's a consistency in 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 um in trusting in God, even if these people I'm mentioning don't believe in God. It seems as if the black community is trusting in something that is beyond them, that something will work out for them in the future, and they might not know what it is, but it seems as if that trust that they have, that faith that they have, even if they don't understand what it is a faith in God, that God will provide some way for them to be brought out of these problems that have seem to be, and are in many cases unfair, or um, something that they did not put themselves into, and willingly. And so I think those are two main things that I think could help for people to understand, um, that for one, we're in this world spiritually, you know, people have an impact on each other spiritually, and it's the way that you approach each other that impacts the way that your spirit will benefit each other and benefit our neighbors. If we the way that you have your mindset and the way your spirit is being is walking out your life is the way that you're going to touch like just help your neighbor, or spiritually, or in all sorts of ways. I'm sure that these things that we don't notice have a big impact, and they add up over time, and only really God sees that. God sees what we don't see. We like to look at things that make money and things like that, but we don't give credit to people that they never really harmed or did anything wrong to anyone. They didn't really have a thought in their mind that was hateful or anything like that, but yet they continued to help others, and they continued to trust in something greater than themselves, and they did it with all sorts of good, positive um, character. And those are the sorts of things that people should recognize, I think, in the black community, because I think it happens all the time, like all over. But I consistently see that sort of thing, and I don't, um, and it doesn't just happen in the nice neighborhoods or whatnot. I think I see it, relatively in all sorts of areas, and I'm not. That's what I think about when I, you know, when I think about this issue, even though I don't judge people 100%. Truthfully, this is what my spirit is kind of leading me towards believing, and this is the sort of thoughts that I'm getting when consistently these are the thought patterns that I'm having. But I think I'm a pretty good judge of that, so I think it's true. Um, and Well, for the people that do not um, think that they, you know, can go to church because they're black, I think that that's false, and it's because that God is above. He's above. He created the human body, and he created everything that we know. every single thing that we know. And so there's no reason to think that just because Jesus was born in Israel, um, you know, that means that he does not love you. And I believe that Jesus loves every every single um, you know, I don't I believe that Jesus has died for this whole world. So if you he obviously knows that um, what he's created and what he has died for and what he was dying for. So it wasn't just for one people, it was for the whole world and all people. It's important to get that message to where the people that really just are very caught in the world and